What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another King Arthur Legends Rise video. Guys, it's 2025 and we are rocking on King Arthur. I hope you guys have had a fantastic start to your new year. I've had a wonderful start, and man, I am just, dude, I have fallen in love with King Arthur, guys. I have fallen in love. And I'm so stoked for today's video because this is, I think, the champion that's made me fall in love with King Arthur the most. So I'm really excited to do a little video on him, a little brief guide, and just talk about why I love this dude. A big thank you, of course, to King Arthur for sponsoring this video, guys. If you haven't had a chance to try the game out yet, what are you waiting for? Use my link down below in the comments as well as in the description. Like I said, this game is legitimately freaking good. So let's get into it. Let's get into the one, the only Bedivere, aka probably the best overall nuker in King Arthur, or certainly in the discussion. And my god, this champion is filthy, guys. This champion is nuts. When I tell you that he has changed my ability to progress in the game, I am not joking. He is an absolute hard carry, does absurd damage. I mean, just ludicrous amounts of damage. And he isn't super hard to build. So yeah, I've had an absolute blast using this champion. So we're going to get into how to build him, where to prioritize, you know, using your materials. You can see that I've got him 6-star awakened. It is not easy to get champions to 6-star awakening this game, and he was the very first one that I chose to do. I've also done, you can't see him down here, but Morgan as well. So she's my second. But man, when you get to 6-star on this guy and you get a banner on this dude, talk about an absolute game changer, because he's already super strong before that, but when you get a banner on him, my lord, he goes absolutely nuts. But before we get into the build and kind of where you should put your resources, let's talk about his passives. We'll talk about his relics, and then we'll get into the build itself. So we've got 3 passives here. Now, I've already screwed this up, which we'll get into in a second, but ideally what you're looking to do is you're looking to max out his P1 and his P2 first and not worry about his P3. Now, when I started leveling him, I didn't know that. So I started leveling these passives basically as soon as I could. So he was already level 50, which means his P3 had unlocked, and therefore one of my passive upgrades landed, unfortunately, in the P3. Now, you'll notice I have a reset coin. I could choose to reset him, but frankly, I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to do one more level up, and I'm going to hope that it lands in the P2, and if it doesn't, then I'll go ahead and reset him. I don't mind having him, with a point into the P3 even after a reset, so doesn't bother me whatsoever. But let's look at these passes and what they do, and why I screwed them up, and why these first 2 passes are so good. So his first passive, dominant position, when he's attacking, he attacks 1 time, but he hits 2 random enemies after that attack. So if you do an initial attack, he's going to hit 2 people randomly. Could be the same person, could be 2 different people, could be the same boss, and it ignores 20% of defense, which is just awesome. And again, he just gets this every 3 turns. You see, it's a 3-turn cooldown. And just starts putting out extra damage all over the place. But the reason why you want these levels to land in the P2 instead of the P3 here is because this ability makes his first passive even better. We've got Light of Dusk, 100% chance to trigger upon critical strike. You'll notice you get a passive activation rate boost of 50%, so this is normally 50% here. And that decreases your passive cooldowns by 1 turn, and it gains a pierce increase, or basically an ignore defense boost, for 1 turn as well. And it's on a 2-turn cooldown. Fully booked, it's on a 1-turn cooldown, which is just nuts. So you can see how this triggering is going to lower how long this takes. So then you're just putting out even more damage. It just like compounds. It's just nuts. So it's why you want your levels to land in these 2. Whereas the third passive, Veteran's Valor, is just all right. When using skill 3, it triggers an ability switch. So if you have a debuff, it's going to switch that basically to the critical strike damage increase 2 on the target. So it's going to change a debuff into a positive, and it's also going to charge 2 vigor, but you have to use skill 3 in order to do that. So it's not going to help you when it comes to debuffs that are, control based, but if you have like a decreased attack, something like that, it would come into play. which is nice. So it's not bad. It's just not nearly as beneficial as these two. And again, if you've already leveled your Bedivere up to 60 like me, and you've already screwed this up, you can always reset if you have a coin, and those first two will be the only things that are available sub level 50. So if you're going to reset, just put those materials right into him right away so that you max these two first. And I would reset, and I probably will end up resetting, but I just don't want to waste this. I don't know how rare these are yet, so I want to be smart about this. Now, let's take a look at his Chivalry since we're already here. I've got him up to level 4, so he's still got a ways to go, obviously. The big advantages here on Chivalry, well, first and foremost, you're getting more ignore defense on that ability once you get to Chivalry 1, or Chivalry, I should say, Chivalry 1. 2, you're getting more ignore defense, so that's the pierce increase there on the Light of Dusk passive. Veteran's Valor, this isn't, again, super great because it requires the A3, but it's not bad, right? You're getting a little bonus vigor. Skill 3, you're getting increased ignore defense here over the base. And then 5 and 6, you get a pretty juicy attack bonus. So 30% total between these two. So this is a pretty large power spike once you're hitting 6. 7 is just more survivability. 8, this is pretty cool. So Fair Judgment, after an ally attacks, if this hero has a crit strike damage increase, deals damage based on attack to all enemies. So I don't have this unlocked, never been able to test it. I've heard that it's not incredible damage, but hey, it adds up. But it does require him to have a critical strike damage buff on him, and he does not do that in his kit. So you'd have to have someone else to enable that. And then the last two are nothing to write home about. They're just survivability. So you don't necessarily need to do these two. You can put, your memory stones into a different champion or hero if you would like to, but I'd love to get him to 8 to at least get that additional damage, to get the massive attack increase. Again, this guy is the dude dealing 95% of my damage in basically every battle. He's that freaking strong, which is nuts. You'll see, so you see how close I am to leveling up this. I really hope that it lands in the 2, so I don't have to waste that reset coin. Again, he's fully awakened here. He's fully advanced. He's fully leveled up. Let's take a look at his relics now. I got really lucky on his relics. I've been talking about luck. I've landed all of the books into the skill 2 and mostly into the skill 1. These are by far, in my opinion, his best abilities. And the cool thing is his starting relic is his best relic. And the reason why is this skill 2 is so filthy strong. I can't even begin to describe how absurdly strong this ability is. But look here at what the actual read is. Gain critical strike rate increase for 1 turn. So he actually gives himself a 40% crit strike buff before he uses this ability. Then he uses it and it deals additional damage if the last hit is a critical strike. It's just massive damage. It's also the big difference between the other, relics. They don't have the critical strike buff, or they don't have, if they have the critical strike buff, they don't have the bonus damage at the end. Only the Frost Relic has the critical strike buff plus the bonus damage. It has both, which is why this makes this relic the best. Now you could use the Fire Relic in certain dungeons. You could use the Storm Relic in certain dungeons where those affinities matter. But for the most part, frankly, just leave him on the Frost Relic and watch him cook. I don't know if you necessarily need to level up this third ability. Again, it's, some people like to use this potentially in arena for the AoE damage. But frankly, I think his second ability is just so strong that most of the time you're better off just ignoring this. In niche situations where you need to hit multiple people, like maybe someone has a stealth buff, sure, it can come into play. But for the most part, this is the damage dealer. And if you look at his A1, he gives himself critical strike rate increase on his skill 1 as well. A1, what am I playing raid? And that goes up to 80% chance to gain a crit strike rate increase on his A1, on his skill 1. So this dude is going to be basically full crit rate, 100% all the time, without you having to build him to 100% critical strike rate. And that's what makes him so nasty, where you can really push his stats in other areas. So let's take a look at the equipment. Now, keep in mind, I am nowhere near endgame on this account. I have been playing for just over a month now. So this is not what I would call your prototypical, this is the build, do it like this type of way. And we're going to talk about that, but this is the best I can currently do on my account right now. And you'll notice I've got an attack set on him, so a 4-piece attack set, and I have 1 critical strike set. Ideally, and also a strife set as well, which we'll get into in a moment because this set is freaking broken. Ideally, you'd probably have something like 2 critical strikes, 1 critical damage set is I think the best way to go. Over kind of attack and critical strike by themselves. At that point, you're getting an additional 30%, critical strike rate. So you don't have to build him with critical strike earrings. I unfortunately do because I don't have good enough critical strike gear to build him like that. So this is how I've built him specifically because this is just the best gear that I have. So let's take a look at what we've got here and why I built him this way. So again, critical strike and attack. I want to maximize his attack. I want to maximize his chance to crit strike, but I only need to get to 60%. So I'm actually overbuilt here. I'm at 68%. I really only need to be at 60% critical strike because those buffs that he puts on himself are going to make up the difference. This dude is always going to be critting as long as you're over 60% basically, and you use your skills in the correct order. So because keep in mind that skill 3 does not have a critical strike buff on it. So yeah, so I can afford to lose a little bit of critical strike rate here and gain way more critical strike damage. That's where my build is falling down. My attack isn't bad for my level, but I definitely need way more critical strike damage and honestly way more hit accuracy as well, but we'll cover that in a sec. So what you're looking to get on him, you want attack speed, critical strike damage, critical strike rate as some of the subsets. Hit accuracy is a big one too. Attack speed isn't bad. I've got him decently fast at 168. That's basically as fast as you need to go most of the time for nukers from what I have seen. He's not placing debuffs or anything like that. He's not stripping buffs. He's just there to come out and rock people's world with damage. So when you get over here off of your helm, chest, and boots, ideally you're going attack percentage on the necklace. I wish this were critical strike damage and not critical strike rate, but again, that's what I have to do for my account. And then you can go attack speed here, which is what I've done. Because this lines up with my attack set, or you could also go attack percentage to really push his attack high. But unfortunately for me, I am hurting for good gear, and I literally don't have attack percentage except in 1 ring that's on an accuracy set, which is just, isn't that crazy? Am I the only one who is hurting for good gear? Let me know in the comments down below if you are hurting for good gear, because this is unquestionably the best build that I can do on my account. And it's still not that great overall for where I'd want him to be. Let's come down to the keepsakes. This is what really starts to make him broken. When you get this 6th awakening star and get a banner on him, he starts to become absolutely absurd. And I'll tell you why. So you'll notice I've got him in a strife set. I personally think this is 100% the way to go because of what you get when you have a 3 set on him. So when a target dies, he gains attack increase for the rest of the battle. He charges his attack gauge by 100%, so he immediately takes another turn after killing somebody, and then he does lifesteal. He drains a percentage of damage dealt to heal, and with the amount of damage this guy pumps out, he can literally completely heal himself after killing somebody and getting another damage. So you can just start to see, like, you drill someone with the skill 2, then you proc dominant position and hit 2 other people maybe. 1 person dies, he goes again. Then he drills somebody with the skill 2 again. I mean, it just starts to get insane, the damage that he pumps out. It's really nuts. So down here, I've got attack from the main stat. I've got hit accuracy, which is definitely what you want on the orb. Hit accuracy super important. If you don't have high enough hit accuracy, the higher up you get in this game, the more you're just going to miss and do 0 damage. So hit accuracy orb, definitely the way to go. And then for the banner, I have pierce, which again is ignore defense. This is something I would love to be critical strike damage. So really where my build is falling down right now is I just don't have good enough critical strike gear or critical strike damage gear to get him into that 2 critical strike, 1 critical damage gear set that seems to be the dominant theory of how to build him as strong as possible. He could be a little bit slower, like he doesn't have to be necessarily this fast, but again, this is just what I've got for him. So you got to work with what you got. But my God, if you can get him in a Strife set, even if the stats aren't as good as some of the other stuff you might put him in for a keepsake, I'm telling you right now, just put him in Strife. Put him in Strife. This has saved my bacon so many times in battles. This is the, I mean, look, these stats aren't even good, right? Like, this is actually not bad. I wouldn't try risk this. But some of these, like, it's not even really that great. But it doesn't matter because he's just so filthy good at doing damage that none of this matters. So let's take another look at the detailed stats. Only 3,700 attack. I've seen people hit 4,900, 5,000 plus attack on this character. 168 attack speed, which isn't bad. He definitely needs a little more survivability, which again, you get with Chivalry, but it's not the most important thing. And then the biggest thing that I would change here is just trying to get this crit strike rate to just 60% and put the rest of that into critical strike damage, hit accuracy, and attack. So those are the three main stats that you're looking to max with this dude. And again, I'm getting Pierce from my banner, which is ignore defense, but I'd rather have critical strike damage. So that's how you build him. Now let's go take him into arena just to give you an idea of what he is capable of doing. God, he's so absurd. I love this champ. I love this hero. All right, let's go into the Colosseum. I'm low level arena right now. I haven't pushed to this at all. I've spent most of my time pushing other areas of the game, but I think it's always fun just to kind of see what he would do in arena. So I'll go ahead, we'll duel. I'll take this off of, I think it's on auto. Yeah, we'll take it off of auto. Oh man, his Bedivere went first. Oh no, I'm in trouble. That's a super fast Bedivere. That's nuts. All right, so we've got decrease, decrease defense, I think, and increase damage taken. Yes. So Sarah is about to get obliterated, assuming we don't miss here. Boom, say goodnight. 46,000 damage, and that's the Strife set that just procced. So now he goes again. Hey, Morgan, good night as well. Another 26,000 damage. I mean, what in the world, dude? What in the world? And that's his freaking like single target, right? But because of that dominant position, he potentially gets AoEs. Let's just auto just to see what he does. Let's see if he does the A3 here. Actually, let's take it off auto. Okay, he's back down to his A1. See how hard the A1 hits. Only 2,700, so nothing crazy for the S1. A1, S1, I don't know. I'm using half raid terms, half King Arthur terms here, but the skill one, you can just see like his damage output is absolutely bonkers, incredibly strong. And I use him in almost, I would say almost every dungeon. I think Gorgos is maybe one of the only ones I don't use him in. Let's do another arena battle. See if we can get another good team here. Here we go. 28,000 power. Awesome. I mean, I'm up 33,000, so I should win this handily, one would imagine. And we do go first. Let's just drop some. Oh, God, Morgan is so good, too. This combo of Morgan plus him, once you start getting Chivalry points into Morgan and start applying these debuffs, is just so incredibly good. I mean, just nuts. Just nuts. Just deleted her. Get another turn. Let's go back. Let's do some more damage. Deleted Merlin. It's just filthy. He's filthy. He's oh, man. He's just so good. So good. Game-changing damage. And it's not like there aren't other good damage dealers in the game. And certainly I have a lot more to discover and a lot more to test myself. But I just feel like Bedivere, he just feels like he's in a class of his own. I mean, look at that damage. Look at that damage. This bro needs to rework on his Bedivere. Bedivere ain't cooking over here. He ain't cooking the same way. You got to rebuild that build, brother. And this is the crazy thing. This isn't even an end game build. Imagine Bedivere on my team with something like, what, 100% crit damage? You know what I mean? Instead of 38% where I'm at right now. Just imagine that. See if we can kill him with the skill one. Yep, we did. And there's dominant position coming into play. And he gets another turn because of Strife. Do we miss? K is very hard to hit. Sneaky how people put K in arena teams with insane evasion stats. I remember the first time I faced her like that, I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to win. I can't even hit her. But there we go. We clean it up there. Yeah, just absurdly good. Let's take a look at a dungeon team. Let's see what dungeon team I want to show off. I've still got a ways to go on pushing dungeons, by the way. So that's definitely one of my goals this coming month, is try to push higher in dungeons, get to level 10. I frankly should be able to do it now, but it's, you know, it's kind of chicken or an egg, right? You need good gear to push dungeons. You can't push dungeons without good gear. So I'm kind of stuck in that place where I still need better gear in order to get higher up, and I need to redo some of these hero builds to make sure that I'm maximizing what I'm trying to maximize. But let's go in here. Let's go. I think he's on my Penvede team. Penvede, I believe so. Yeah. All right. So we'll just auto this. Clementine also kind of nasty, not gonna lie. Like, I really kind of like Clementine a whole bunch. I should do a guide on her next. She's been hard carrying me in Forbidden Dungeon with Bedivere. The two of them just combo together so nicely. I'm just gonna put it on auto, and we'll just see. We'll see if it cooks. Should cook. Hopefully it doesn't fail. I think this is. It should work, but we'll see. I have usually, if I do repeat battles, it's good because I can prioritize the boss. So that might be the only thing here, is that the boss isn't prioritized for Tristan to come in there, remove that shield. There we go. Beautiful. My lord, the tusks are just getting blown apart. Sweet Bedivere. Sweet, sweet, sweet Bedivere. Yeah, the combo I've been using in Forbidden Dungeon, I've been rolling with Morgan, Bedivere, and Clementine, and then I'll throw in Jillian. And it's just so filthy because nobody gets a turn on the enemy team, basically. My Morgan is fast enough to where I don't have to worry about enemies taking turns constantly. My Clementine is able to knock back turn meter, and then my Bedivere just comes in and blows everyone apart and just completely annihilates the enemy team. So yeah, I frankly, like, if you find a way to get this champion, or if you get this champion, jump for joy, because he will change your account. He is that good. I mean, he is just on a different level. Just on a different level. All right, we'll get the barrier down here. And now hopefully we'll start to really do some serious damage. There's Tristan. Like, look at Tristan by comparison, right? Single target damage dealer. He can't remotely compare to what Bedivere puts out. And we'll see the stats at the end, so we get an idea of who did the most damage. Now, to be fair to Tristan, he was doing a lot of damage of getting the shield down since he has so many multi-hits. Boom. 19,000 damage. Yes, please. On stage 10 Penvede. Not too shabby. He's also only got one arm. So, I mean, just think about how incredible he'd be with two arms. If he's this good with one, he'd be absolutely insane with two. So let's take a look at the stats on what kind of damage dealt here. So we did 118,000 damage. Look at that. Double my Morgan in spite of her taking more turns because of her speed. Literally quadruple, more, almost quintuple my Tristan. My God, dude. My God. I love this, by the way. Such a cool feature that they have here where you can see exactly what he did. And I've set him so he's using his skill 2 and not using his skill 3 at all, because I want to make sure I maximize that damage, especially now that it's fully booked and fully leveled up. Which just happened before I started recording this video. So I just put another set of skill tomes into him, and he just got to that final damage. So yeah, long story short, Bedivere's a god. If you pull him, congratulations. I'm not going to say you've won the game, but you know, you're well on your way. So hopefully this guide was helpful for you to have a better idea of how to build him. Again, I'm nowhere near end game, so there's still so much room for him to grow. I'd love to get him to 4,800, 4,900 attack, 100% crit damage, you know, something like that. I like having him this fast because he takes lots of turns, but I could maybe lose some speed there. I'm going to play around with it and figure out what works best. And I think that's what's so exciting about playing this game, is there's so many things I'm learning as I go along, right? It's like when I started Raid. There's so much to discover, so much to check out, so much for me to process and figure out. And I'm just at the start of my journey, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. So let me know in the comments down below if this guide was helpful for you. If you have any other questions, what you're thinking of King Arthur, if you're having as much fun as I am playing the game. I think we do have a couple openings in the clan again. So if you were interested, hit me up in the Discord. I think we're at 19 people. Let's see. We've got 24 total people. So we've got one open spot. So yeah, if you're interested, hit me up in the Discord, let me know. And otherwise, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and let me know what you thought down below. But thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm Big Papa Drock, and I am out.